Okay, so you are recording this for the second time because the first video that you recorded a few hours ago, the voice, your voice was so minuscule you couldn't hear anything that was spoken. So I recorded a few hours ago a video for these videos are for you, Tara, to go back and to remember, to never forget, to not forget. And it was you you're posting it as an American, you're posting it as a black woman or an African American woman. And status is that you've lived in Shanghai, China for the last 4 years since March of 2020. Um, and right now, Donald Trump and Kamala Harris are set to run against each other. You're posting this video for you to remember because you don't like what the Democratic machine or whomever they are did to Joe Biden. You consider it to be what Matt Gaetz did. It's new politics and it's abominable. It's deplorable. It's just in poor taste. Um, what Matt Gaetz did to, like, for instance, Kevin McCarthy. So here's the thing. What you see, the way that you see it, is that uh, the, if you will, Democratic machine, whatever have you, set up Joe Biden for public fall. And they didn't have to do it that way. They did not have to um, have him. There was a different way that could have been, I think, facilitated, fostered, if you will, for him to exit. Although I understand why, I don't agree with the way that they did it. Now, how does that lead to you not voting for Kamala Harris as a black woman, black American woman? When I look at her record, when I look at California, number one, and I look at her record and how she got her start and what she did, it is not, I don't look at her, I'm truly viewing her as a candidate, as a presidential candidate. I am not bringing into uh, first thought the fact that she is a black woman or an Asian woman presidential candidate. The reason for that is because she's part of the haves. And no matter what people want to say, there are haves and have nots. America is divided by haves and have nots. And the haves that want power, votes, they will do, say, whatever is necessary to obtain that on the Democratic side. And what I look at is her record. So, from my viewpoint, I don't see her as a black woman that I am looking at, oh, if she makes it, then that makes it so much easier for in the future for other women of color to make it. That's not been the case, and that's just not been the truth for many women of color. And I do not back her. I do not, and I would not. She is not, based upon what I have done my own research and looked up myself on her record. She says one thing, but when it comes time to implementation, does something completely different. And while I recognize that might be politics, that's not what I want. And I'm looking at the fact that she's part of the haves. And America right now is filled with have nots. when you're not able to pay your rent, when you're not able to procure a job except for maybe a part-time job, when you're not able to be able to do basic things like put gas in your car or even afford to pay for a car, that's a have-not situation. And what I have consistently seen, and by the way, Tara, just as a reminder, you know, you're registered independent. You've been independent for many years. And you were independent Democrat, if you will, before. And you've never really been an independent Republican. But given the choices that are available in this election, you cannot look at what everyone wants the focus to be on the Democratic side, which is, oh, she's a black woman and she's going to be our first black woman president. Okay, but what is she going to do to make sure that people have availability to pay rent? What is she going to, and what is her record? What has been the record? Like, right now, I look at the fact that borders are or not, over the border or not, the Biden-Harris presidency has allowed many individuals into the United States who, quite frankly, I would not be surprised if they were part of the reason for them letting them all in because of this voting. So I just see too much that has transpired, and I no longer can sit and have this thought process of, okay, or buy into, that's a better terminology, buy into, oh, I'm a black woman, she's a black woman. I'm a black woman who, has had a rough time, she's a black woman who's had a rough time. She's a have, and there are more have-nots in the United States than there are haves. So when we get back to a place of being haves, majority haves, then maybe I can, buy into the we shall overcome movement. But at this point, I don't have it. I don't see it. And when I look back at not hating, how you get in where you fit in, get it. But looking back at her start and looking back at her record, I can't endorse, and I won't. I am not looking at her the same way that I looked at Hillary Clinton. Hillary Clinton, she earned it. She should have been. I can't say that for Kamala. I cannot say that at all. What I see when I see Kamala is a puppet. What I see when I see her is a woman of color who has had some strong backers for quite a few years, and great in being able to deliver for the right individual or individuals. But I don't see it. So, yet once again, Tara, this is for you, just as a moment of time, many moments of time, famous moments of time that you have experienced in your life. But this one in particular, you needed to remake this video because the first one made sure, your voice was not heard. Well, your voice will be heard on this video, and it will be uploaded for you to remind yourself, because the way that you see things have gone in the United States and how things have deteriorated, it no longer am I on the bandwagon of we shall overcome. because I've met too many other people of color, in particular women of color, who would never be able to stand up and you know, do reminder videos to themselves and publish it. But in my case, I've been there, done that. And for consistently what I've heard is, and seen and experienced, is the thought process of, oh, if one makes it, then we all make it. One makes it, then, that makes it easier for all of us. That makes it, the pathway a little bit wider for us. It does not. It has not. Maybe in the 60s, 70s, and part of the 80s and 90s, but as of the 2000s onward, it has not. The road has not gotten easier. It has not gotten wider. It has not gotten, better. It is the haves, and what gets me the most is I see all of these different, you know, individuals of color saying, "Oh, it's just fantastic." They're the haves. Like I literally just saw on MSNBC, and I'm not just talking about Joy. I'm not just talking about Joy, but I have seen repeatedly Rachel Maddow copies, literally Rachel Maddow copies, and individuals that are touting the praises and the fantastic. And the reality is that they are haves. They don't have to worry about if their gas is going to be able if they're going to be able to fill up their gas tank. You know why? Because they live in New York, D.C., Philly. No, let me recant that. They might not live in Philly. But they definitely for sure live in the DMV. Oh, and how do I know the DMV? Because I used to live there. It takes one to know one. Not from there, but used to live there and lived there long enough to know. They are the haves. They live in a bubble and they know the talking points. They know what to say, oh, we shall overcome. No. They go on popularity but not substance. And what America needs right now is substance. The whole thing of, helping a sister up. Okay. That's really fantastic and wonderful if that were really the case. But what I have heard and what I have actually experienced consistently in many venues, I would love to say it was just banking or it was just, government. check the roster, check the resume. I've been there. But like if anyone else watches this, which I doubt anyone would, but if anyone else watches this, the reality is I've been in multiple industries. The only industry that I haven't been involved in is oil and gas energy. That's really one of the only industries. And so, like, this thought process of, oh, we should just rally because she's a woman of color and, isn't it fantastic? And she's like, I have no respect for the popular media. I mean, back in the day, at least it was somewhat covert about who was who. When I turned on CNN, you know, back in, 25 years ago, you really expected to receive actual a true viewpoint. But the fact that it's overt. It's overt. It's the same. It would be the same if I were to say Fox or whomever is out there now on the Republican side. I know that as a black woman, as a woman of color, I cannot just get on the bandwagon anymore and be fed the lollipop popsicle of we shall overcome vote for Kamala Harris 2024 because she is the first black woman Asian possible president. That is fantastic, but we have Barack. That like and what is interesting is it's supposed to be, I guess, a rerun because she's now bringing in all of the same people that President Obama had, which is fantastic, wonderful. Okay, you got they know the deal, right? The Washington deal, right? But I cannot, and I would, and let's face it, like anyone would say, well, who is she? I'm just an average American, have not voter who's been living in another country for 4 years in part, because of the fact that getting a full-time job in the United States, even with the credentials and the history and the background that I have, and I'm not the only one, has been almost impossible, pretty much impossible. That's all. That's who I am. I'm an average. Uh, I'm an average. I'm a have-not. I'm part of the have-nots, and quite frankly, I can't relate to the joys, the whoopies. I can't relate to individuals who are clearly part of the haves. I don't want to be a Beyonce. I remember her when she was when she had before she was Destiny's Child. I know how old she really is. When she was in Vegas. So, like, I don't look at those. I'm not starstruck. And what is interesting to me is what is to me an abomination is, the fact that it's taking because this is the anniversary of the civil rights movement, but we needed to band together at that point. We all were in the same class, money wise, for the most part. But now the schism is so far, and to still, quite frankly, sell people of color on the "we shall overcome," and women in particular, I find it highly offensive because I'm not looking. I don't see her the same way I would see Shirley Chisholm. I just don't. I don't. I don't see her the same way I see Hillary Clinton. I cannot. I look at the history, the track record. I don't see that with her. So, if I'll continue to do research because the election is not here yet, but I haven't from the research that I've seen, that I've observed, that I've just read, the digging that I've done. No, and I can't be swayed with the catchy talking points of Kamala or whatever I've seen recently. I just am not. And if someone were to accidentally click on this video, you're absolutely right. Well, who is she? I am part of the have-nots. I'm not a professor. I'm not an NYU professor. I'm not I'm not even in the United States right now. I'm in Shanghai. I'm in China. Working. So, but still a voter. So it's like, if someone were to, again, these videos are for you, Tara, to remember. Don't forget. But it just is amazing to me what people can be sold just lollipop candy outside, sugar coated wrapping. And if you there was an old commercial, how many licks does it take to get to the center of a Tootsie Roll pop? And the owl would go, one, two. That's what I see when I see her. Sugar candy coated wrapping on the outside. It has paid some dues, absolutely. But no, by just basic being in the public eye, you pay dues, quote unquote. But I just see her as a puppet and not worthy of me getting behind her because of the record, because of what I've seen, because of what I've observed, like what I've read. Can't do it. So let's see if this video is actually able to be uploaded to help you to remember, because this is a historic part of time. Again, you know, this is a historic period of time, and your viewpoint is not part of the bandwagon again. But I just did not like what I saw them set Joe Biden up, and now they're like, oh well, he's okay, he's fantastic, and to me trying to make it up. No, no, they should have never put him out there. It's a Matt Gaetz, and I definitely don't like him, and I'm with Kevin all the way to go after, what is it? Not the five, whoever it is on that side. I just the politics has always been. It's the reason why I don't get into politics. It's the reason why I don't. I'm always, when having an opportunity to vote, unless in extenuating circumstances, I've always tried to vote. But and truly tried. But this one, no, I can't. I can't get on the whole bandwagon of support and saying, oh, she's our first black Asian woman president. I could do it with Hillary. I can't do it with Trump. I can't. So let's see if you can get this one uploaded.